diving deep. We are mapping, or let us say not mapping, but we are expressing certain visions that we have had, feelings, more or less feelings that have arrived after I have had three kind of maximum days, like 3 days of completely different modes of spending the time. Let us say one day I read agnostic texts, something very mysterious, complicated about music, language, Atlantis, projects for the mankind and stuff like that, which kept me all the time on the verge of mystery and secrets, and also a very complicated text that I had to rewrite basically to know exactly what is there. I had to make the long sentences, break the long sentences into simple ones, and make a kind of aphorisms or almost stanzas of a poem from those sentences, so that I see the chunks of knowledge that I can then transfer and transform into images and emotions. And that was a feeling of, exhaustion after that. Moving all the time around a not visualized a mystery, that gave me the feeling that there is Gnostic text. The Gnostic texts are like this. The writer has an idea, a big mystery idea, and he's circling around it, but he does not see it as a vision. So he's not, as I have decided to talk about two modes. They're very, very important, this difference, two modes of using a language. One is the true, mysterious, bardic vision naming. Let's say the bard has a vision that comes passively to him, or maybe a thought appears to him. It befalls him, since you know that not only images and dynamic images are stored in the super individual Akashic memory of the biosphere, planet Earth, but also deep thoughts, deep thoughts that have been thought by other deep thinkers. The deep thoughts are, well, we have to work around that a little bit. The deep thoughts must have once been also visions. And then they were named in an ecstasy of the seer. Let us not get confused too much. So the first type of language is this usage of language. You name that what appears to you. You passively receive. You are impressed. In ontological terms, we know that the soul field of of an inspired bard is released from the ego. The ego is dissolved in the melody, in the vibration, in the vocalization. La 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 la. Don't forget this stage of dissolving the ego now. Okay. And then you name that which appears to you. The other is the classic scientific or cognitive, ideological mode of using the language, that you have preconceived ideas, an agenda, something you want to convey as idea. That's why it is ideology. And you simply use words to express these ideas. These words are like signs, as if labels on those concepts. These concepts are really cognitive. They do not appear to you as images first, and feelings, emotional images. They are also not dynamic, because they are true, unchanging concepts. You think they are true, and because if they are really true, then they must be permanently true, beyond time and space, beyond the change. Whereas the first mode is the passive naming of whatever appears, and it is dynamic change. So, a sign of being in the first mode, the creative, bardic expression, is a surprise. You may be surprised what is appearing to you. You don't know in advance. And needless to say, most of the so-called art, philosophy, and mysticism is of the second type, and used to be and was and is even now ideas that have been read or talked about or seen in some commentaries and videos today to get hold of the soul via the ego, via the desire to be a mystic, to be a bard, to have some secrets, to have power, to possess unusual power. La, 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 la. And then a mask arises, a mask. The ego shapes a mask, and this mask is then pretending to see, to have visions, to undergo a certain mystic transformation. And they are serious. That is one criterion also, one sign of true inspiration with life power, with supra-individual life power of the planet Earth, that you like, winds and storms and seas and colors and animals and flowers, because they are all really alive, streaming and without egos, and their souls as fields are merging. So that's why when I'm in a beautiful landscape, I say always the man, when he appears, mostly destroys his harmony, because he is out of this flow of embodying soul fields. So as when I have been speaking about the will to power in the last installment, I had 2 installments about the will to power. One was really concentrated on Nietzsche, where I have shown his contradictions in this realm, that he uses will to power. This word, this label, this name, for 2 fundamentally different experiences. One is the search of the true life force, the biological great health, ecstasy of power that is animal-like, Dionysian, the overflowing cup. And it expresses passively through the organism, and be it animal, be it a plant, be it a human being, or be it even, for me, an elementary conglomerate, like a storm, like a wind, like a sea. And the other is the cognitive will to power, which is reserved expressly to and only to human beings who have an ego. This is actually the opposite, because it is expression of decadence of the first form. The life power is declining. And the cognitive willpower makes an interpretation. It changes the value of what it experiences. It makes it look, like as being chosen by the gods, or having certain higher powers, pretending yourself to be somebody else. So this is the cognitive will to power, which makes great political figures who impress their power of interpretation on the masses. Now a strange, unusual idea occurs, or the image appears to me now, of a warrior who is strong, who really possesses, who is really possessed, who is the lucky throw of fate, as Nietzsche says, who really has the physiological fitness power, the great noon and the great health, and he nevertheless manages to rule in society, to become a kind of imperial figure. which used to be possible in old times where society groups were small. And when it was, his impression was to be seen by everybody, and it was not possible to kill him, poison him by treachery, or remove him from the position of power by intrigue of the weak ones, which then was called like democracy or liberalism or religious kind of doctrine. As soon as the weak ones and the decadent ones claim power and they build institutions and the state becomes large, then it is not possible for this special variation of the hero to become a king, because he will be removed. In the old times, when the community was small and when there was not such a technological power and such a possibility for intrigue and secrecy, then the warrior type king, who was a poet and seer at the same time, or even maybe a priest of his vision, was still possible. Then the possibility of a strong, physiologically strong individual, male mostly, who nevertheless becomes a ugly, rural, a pervert, violent personality who nevertheless impresses his pathological will to power on the masses, a kind of monster dictator, tyrant, was still possible also. In old days. But a body, a human body, which is possessed by some perversion, violence, is not, in our conception of the personal phenomenology, is not in harmony with the soul of his surroundings, with the soul of nature, with the soul of all living organism, because his passion is destruction, perversion, torture, oppression, even if he may be physically strong. So we have a possibility of a strong body physically and yet distorted, decadent soul. Okay, that's true. Beware of them. They are the psychopaths. Their soul is not able to passively open to the beauty of nature, to the positive quality of life, which is in spreading, merging, and a certain abundance and tolerance. We must say that we do not accept this idea of Darwin, that life is a war of strongest against the weakest. No. Example of today's bardic immersion in In a second thoughts now, because I have had these two installments about the will to power, one devoted to Nietzsche expressly and one devoted to bards. Out of what source does the bard receive his inspiration? Out of the huge storage of, imagery and vision and deep thought from the supra-individual memory of the planet Earth. And it's possible when he's in his open, childish mode, childlike, not let us say not childish, childlike, fresh, new, without an ego, the ego dissolved. The other mode is false bard, an ideologue who is pretending and who is repeating certain ideas. So we could say in the modern times, a lot of the so-called art and music and song will be of this type, motivated by desire to be famous, to make money, to produce pieces of art that are popular, that will bring admiration and financial success. So they have a plan how to do it. They have a script. They are not passively inspired, surprised, original. Only once the true bard does not perform. He expresses himself originally, always, for the first time and the last time. In the sense, not in the last time in the succession of his expressions, but as it is now in this moment, it will never be. That's why it is for the last time. And it never was before. So it is for the first time. It is like the first moment of love, of true love. It was never before like this, and it will never be like this. Because Eros, cosmogonic Eros, that is inspiring us, is in its essence an event of a fleeting moment. It never repeats itself. It does not live in the linear time of repetition. That's why we must wait also, be patient, until we tune ourselves to this unique moment. So I have today a game of a training of tennis with a young boy, 14 years old, but who is a real possible, warrior, tall, grown. He can play tennis. He also has some inclination to poetry. And his father asked me to make a training with him, and then we shall go to the lake and take our guitars, and I will try to, to convey the bardic way, which usually I do not do. So for that purpose, I have published yesterday a message to the bards, how it could be done. And I spent the whole day. So we had this, I talked about the 3 very different days, full days. One day was reading a gnostic text. Second day was sport, physical exercise from morning till evening without a break, like 12 hours. Swimming, playing tennis, and exercising and being outside and chico, whatever you want, doing nothing else but sport. Oh, beautiful day at the lake here. And the third day was yesterday. It was the bardic day where I first had an inspired speech with the guitar in the morning and then worked truly the whole day until darkness to find suitable images and publish 17 minutes of a speech where every 5 to 7, maximum 10 seconds, an image, a suitable image is presented, which I have finally written. It is more than any filmmaking company would achieve in one day with 500 assistants, experts and specialists. So 3 different days. Now there will be a day of combined moods. I am doing now the bard alone because I feel uncertain. My soul feel uncertain which is the right mode of living, because what I'm liking the fourth day, I'm liking working the whole day on a beautiful farm with animals and plants and with friends. And I'm liking the day number 5, walking through the forest and alongside the rivers and mountain brooks and lakes and seas with the beautiful, inspiring muse experience of falling in love. Facilitates so much the bard has experienced passively, being surprised that it keeps calling him, my young Gongaria, ha 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 ha. I have forgotten the prosaic day. Let's change the guitar position. As always, when we achieve a certain depth of expression, the body reacts by asking for a change of vibration. What is it? What is it? What is calling us? Maybe we discover something. The first 2 stages are with the guitar on the left side of my body, where the neck of the guitarist is on the brow and on the root of the nose, and the left hand is hitting the string. It is a kind of tentative approaching to the mystery of passive appearance of images and emotions, and then when a path is found, the body signals and the soul signals we want to become strong and clear, and the resonance must be, felt through all the body. So So the position of the guitar is changed. The guitar rests on the brow, now with the resonance body, and the neck is down on the direction pelvis. So the guitar is resting also on the chest and stomach. And then below the pelvis on upper part of the legs. And both arms, both hands are resting on the body of the guitar, supported by pillows or jackets or whatever, and the head is lying on the lion, resting on the lion, which is not a real lion but just a nice imitation of a lion. And then from both sides the strings are hit. And below the guitar, grimaces grow very quickly sometimes. So as if the flow of emotion first and body vibration gets united into a kind of healthy or overflowing Dionysian cup of melody and vibration and motion. So we could speculate that the first part of the bardic tuning was the soul was dominating. It was necessary to wait until the soul can spread, because the first part is devoted to the dissolution of the ego. That's why the guitar is also on the brow, and the hits are soft and truly. I can feel the vibration in the front lobe of the brain that is very pleasant and also has an kind of existential depth, that this is the honest opening of the temple. You have to surrender to this. You cannot force it. You have to wait until it really visits you, or until you are admitted to the temple of the bards, to the Akashic realm. And the second part is already you are in, and you walk, and you look around, and you are feeling strong. So that is more or less the body takes over, because also the body together with the soul are the initiators of the changing of the position, as if like you must fly now. So the time we have to go. This is 8:15. I have to eat something quickly and bicycle to the tennis court to meet this young guy and play 1 hour with him. And after that, we have the bards meeting on the shore of a lake. I have invited several friends whom I know could be open to this, to bring their guitars and mats, and try to show what what is their method of the bard of the 21st century.